And hello there, and welcome to another edition of Husker Online Postgame Live. We are in Allegiant Stadium on New Year's Eve here as we're going to wrap up Nebraska's disappointing finish here to the 2025 season, a 44-22 loss to Utah. We're brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Sartor Hamann Jewelers. We'll hear more from them, but we're also brought to you by the official beverage sponsor of the show, Zipline. And I'll tell you what, guys, right now I'd kill for some Zipline as we put a finish to this season. We'll have to wait till we get back, but go into Zipline. They're going to have the football on. Great place in the Tap and Grill, any of their locations to check out Zipline, and tons of great new 6-packs available as well. Thanks to Zipline. They've been with us all year, last year as well, as the official beverage sponsor of Husker Online Post Game Live. But let's get into it, gentlemen, because it was not pretty when you look at this game for Nebraska. And it started out pretty. I think they came out of the gates and you're like, okay, they've got something going here. 2 really good scripted drives, or at least one scripted drive, then a follow-up drive that Mekhi Nelson kind of went off. But then from that point on, Nebraska went 16 plays, 5 punts, 5 yards. They went 5 consecutive 3-and-outs as an offense as Utah just pulled away. So not only did Nebraska's defense have trouble with Devin Dampier, who went for over 300 passing and nearly 150 rushing for 5 touchdowns, they didn't do anything on offense. So yes, you can point the finger at Nebraska's defense, but the offense, when you go 2 straight quarters with absolutely not even a first down, that's going to give your defense a lot of problems, especially against a high-tempo offense like Utah.
A lot there, Sean. A lot to cover. Beautiful stage here. I mean, we're sitting in a gorgeous stadium. Just another embarrassment, though. I mean, it's just I know you guys can do the thing where you say, well, Nebraska didn't have Emmett Johnson. Nebraska didn't have Rocco Spindler, didn't have Singleton. Didn't have an Isaiah Hunter back on offense. They were missing guys, but so was Utah. Utah was missing 2 first-round offensive tackles, their 2 best pass rushers. And still this happens.
And their head coach.
The thing that is most disappointing to me is Utah has a bad defense, guys. That's not a good defense, Sean. That defense was 113th nationally against the run.
In the first 2 drives, it looked that way.
Yeah, and then they're 60th overall. And Nebraska couldn't get anything going against Utah? Really?
Well, they did early, and then I don't know what it was. I know that the players and Matt Rule mentioned after the game that they lost their tempo early. So the reason they were having success early is because they were getting on the ball and having first down, early down success, and we're able to kind of get out in front of Utah a little bit and keep Utah on their toes, play with a little bit more tempo and kind of control the pace on that side of the ball. But then when they didn't have those first few early down plays that didn't go, they were put behind the sticks a little bit and they could not respond. Then the momentum swung the other way very quickly, and then they were playing catch up the rest of the way, because that's how quickly it turned. Because when they're not doing anything on offense for that long, you're putting your defense, which has struggled already against a high-octane Utah offense, that it was just a combination for disaster. That's what we saw.
Okay, well, that's really fragile. I mean,
it is.
I mean, that's all it takes.
They needed it to go perfectly, and as soon as adversity hit, they crumbled.
Yeah, and now they also Sean Rule talked about Utah hurt Nebraska's offense with zone pressure, and that you have to win in those situations. You have to win in man. You have to win in man coverage. Now, that was something that Dana Holgorsen talked about this week. They knew what the issues would be, and they still couldn't solve it. Zone pressure and pressure got to the quarterback a little bit, but in those situations, those receivers have to win in man. And I don't know, do they not have the guys to do that?
Well, they were missing their best receiver, probably in Isaiah Hunter, who was a game time scratch from a hand injury that I guess he suffered in the Iowa game, is our understanding. But yeah, they just, I felt like when they were running the ball early, that helped a lot of things out. But once they got predictable, that got into the hands of Morgan Scalley. Morgan Scalley is an excellent blitz guy. We heard that. I was on a Salt Lake show this morning, and they talked about that, how Morgan Scalley is known for dialing up blitzes and pressure packages. And once Nebraska stopped running it with success, it became really easy. And TJ Lateef just didn't have the spark as far as his running ability that we saw back in the UCLA game. And maybe that game was an anomaly, or maybe he's still recovering from the hamstring injury, but you just didn't see him take off at all. It struggled as a runner in this game for whatever odd reason. I'm looking at the numbers here. Lateef's long run was 16 yards, but he had 13 carries for 22 yards.
That was a part of Lateef's game that I think we all thought would be more effective. It was against UCLA. He did have some zip against UCLA, but it didn't really materialize against Penn State. And then, of course, he hurt the hamstring early in the Iowa game, so you kind of negate that. I don't know. It's hard to say how his hamstring was affecting him today, if it was affecting him at all. I don't know. They said he was full go. You kind of wonder, though. Yeah, you kind of wonder a little bit.
So you take all that for what it's worth, but it was clear he wasn't a dynamic, like, designed runner. But then even against that pressure, when Utah was getting free rushers in, he had a hard time escaping that. He got away a little bit, but then they were chasing him down. Like, he didn't have that escapability that we talked all month about he was going to have for Nebraska to have a chance against that pressure. So it was just a really bad combination all around. And again, once things, started to go wrong, it seemed like they got away from that running game. Things avalanched on them, and they became one-dimensional. And it was just, kind of the script was written from that point on.
And guys, let's not pretend we saw this a couple times this year where the offense just completely goes away. The game that jumps out to me was Michigan State, where Nebraska completely, for 2 quarters, didn't do anything. Didn't get a first down, didn't move the ball at all. Same type of deal here today against a much better team. And when you're playing in an indoor stadium where there's no wind, no weather conditions, I mean, Dampier was amazing. I mean, they could not touch that guy. I mean, he was arguably the best quarterback Nebraska played all year. At least they made him look like that in this game. Right. As they didn't have a quarterback do this to them all season, but the pass rush was disappointing. They just didn't get home at the level. And again, we shouldn't be surprised, because you are what the stats say you are. And Nebraska came into this game with only 11 sacks on the year and 6 forced interceptions over 12 games.
Yeah, and they were 97th nationally against the run, too. So, yeah, I think during the week we felt – I shouldn't try to speak for you guys, but we felt Utah could put up a big number, right? Now, none of us thought 44 necessarily, but I thought Utah could do that. Put it in get up 30 plus points. I thought Nebraska would be able to score with them more. 22 is misleading because they got one late. It didn't really matter.
And they almost scored another one late that would have covered if they could have covered.
It would have been really misleading. I was almost hoping it didn't happen, because I think then your head coach can kind of paint a different picture than what it really was, right?
Yeah, but the big concern for me is just how it looked like once things started to get away from them, it looked like they didn't really want to be there. And maybe that's just me, getting pessimistic about everything. But like, that was just kind of the vibe you got. Like, everybody just kind of looked checked out. You didn't see much fight. You didn't see the same fire that Utah had. And obviously, it's easy to have fire when you're winning, but Utah was behind the sticks a little bit too. And what did they do? They just kept answering. Nebraska ran out of answers very quickly, and it looked like they were ready to get back on the plane when, we're early in the second half.
Here's the thing, Sean. I asked Rule after the game, if this, after the Penn State game, after the Iowa game, after those games, in the postseason, he said we didn't have the physicality and we didn't play with enough effort in those games. He said this game was different. He said the physicality was fine. The effort was fine. I'm talking mainly about defense. I don't know that I completely agree with him on that.
I mean, look, some of those tackles. Tackling was atrocious, especially on the back end. And
it's hard to agree, isn't it?
For me, that's what I consider physicality. Maybe we have different definitions of physicality, but when it comes to like coming out and knocking a guy on his back on a hit instead of trying to arm tackle him, that's what I consider physicality. And Nebraska didn't have nearly enough.
No, I thought the first couple of possessions, the offensive line looked great. I thought they came out with Jeep Wade leading them. And, I had a former Husker lineman say sent me a message. They look noticeably different the way they attacked up front. But obviously it went away quickly when the offense went in the shell on those 5 consecutive possessions before they got a first down. There's a lot, guys, that we're going to have to get into. The transfer portal opens on Friday. and that's going to take over. But it's hard for me to recall the last season where there wasn't a coaching change that followed, where Nebraska finished like this.
Yeah.
Where, usually when you get blown out 3 straight games,
right,
it's a new coach. We have not had an offseason where it's ended like this. And you're going to go into like the spring and the winter on this type of note without a lot to sell other than maybe what you get in the portal. And I think that's going to be the challenge.
And Rule sold it fairly well in that, Iowa beat Vandy today, right? Utah is ranked number 15
Penn State
in the country. Penn State won its bowl game and and came on, after that sort of bad stretch they had that got Franklin fired. So, he painted it like those are top 15 type teams, and we're not. I don't know if you can sell it. Can you sell Iowa as a top 15 type team?
Well, they will move up because Vanderbilt was ranked pretty high, and they pushed them around.
Yeah, I was 9-4, so I don't know. Maybe he's right.
I mean, people thought Vanderbilt was a playoff team,
right?
And, the Big Ten in general, I think for whatever reason, because they're not tied to ESPN and get all the talking head ESPN love, but they're having a good month right now. The big, other than Nebraska, USC lost their bowl game in overtime, but Michigan lost. But I'm not surprised Michigan lost.
Oh, Michigan lost.
Yeah, they lost to Texas by 2 touchdowns.
Well, and the other part of what Rule said is that those were top 15 teams, but he said we're also not a bottom 15 team, and so he said that the gap isn't as big as maybe the 73-point final margin of defeat over those 3 games.
Okay.
It might indicate. For me, that's hard to sell right now because these last 3 games, Nebraska looked like they didn't even belong on the same field as their opponent, and that's really concerning to me.
Well, guys, the super chats are piling up, and it's New Year's Eve, so we know people probably have parties and plans to get to. So we appreciate everyone joining us here after a tough loss. Again, we're brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Sartor Hamann. Make Sartor Hamann Jewelry your go-to for your Husker jewelry needs. Home of the one-of-a-kind, handcrafted Husker jewelry featuring our famous 14-karat gold corncob earrings and pendants made by hand in our master jeweler shop using real gold emeralds for the leaves. These are unlimited supply. Also, our state Nebraska pendants featuring the outline of the great state of Nebraska with the ruby in the place where Lincoln is on the map. Be the talk of your tailgate with your unique one-of-a-kind Husker jewelry. We sell out of these every season, so make sure you get your orders in now. Mention Husker Online in the store or put Husker Online, all lowercase, to get 10% off your orders online now. Sartor Hamann Jewelers, a Nebraska tradition as famous as the Cornhuskers. 120 years of excellence, 4 generations of family. Don't mess around with the rest. Come to the best. Sartor Hamann Jewelers, Lincoln, Grand Island, online at sartorhamann.com. When only the best will do. Sartor Hamann Jewelers. And again, we're also brought to you by the official beverage sponsor of the program, Zipline. Get on in to the Fallbrook Tap and Grill location. They've got a great new lunch menu with tons of great options starting at just $10. A lot of sandwich options at the Fallbrook Tap and Grill. Thanks to Zipline, the official beverage sponsor here of Husker Online Postgame Live. But I think it's time. Let's get into the super chats, guys. Mojo Mikey 123. He's got 2 in here.
Okay.
Effortless defense, timeout, mismanagement, clueless offense. Is this what we're supposed to tolerate going into year 4?
Yes. No. I mean, you don't have a choice. Is what you see what I'm getting at. You don't have a choice. No, you don't. I mean, it's got to happen. There's not going to be any changes. This is the head coach, right? Mm-hmm. The AD made sure of that with a contract extension. I mean, you don't have to tolerate it, but it's not changing.
Okay? All right. Mojo Mikey has another one.
Okay.
And these are some in-game ones, kind of out of order, Megan. I apologize. I think you don't come in the same order, but this one was at 3:34 p.m. Taking a timeout early in the second just to get defensive subs in after a Utah penalty, and then calling a second only to false start is unacceptable. And he's referring to maybe just some of the management issues of some of the timeout usage early in the game. And again, I don't know. These are emotional in-game super chats, guys, so I don't really want to overdo this one for Mike.
I can't litigate that right now, Rob.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that's been a theme all year, some of the early timeouts, and some people view that as kind of disorganization. I don't know. I mean, there's always extenuating circumstances, especially in a game like this where there's so many new players on the field.
Yeah.
But,
Hey, Sean.
I don't know if it made that much of a difference.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't see it as any kind of factor in this thing.
All right, Andrew Feezer, 8131. I don't see how a DC from outside the Power 5 will fix this.
Well, here's the thing. I was talking to a guy that's very familiar with that conference, and he said Ulrich is the real deal. Rob Ulrich, the new defensive coordinator for Nebraska. I'm not. I'll tell you one thing I'm not going to do is write him off before he coaches a game. Let's see how it looks. They need help. I mean, but they need personnel help.
Yeah.
That's that's Sean, Rob. That's where the transfer portal is going to have to come in handy.
Yeah, and the good news is that he's been around the last month, saw those last 15 practices, watched the game, so he's got a pretty good idea of what he has to work with, what will and won't work within this 4-2-5 scheme. They incorporated some of the four down front quarters coverage that he's going to want to use, so these guys got a little bit of a taste of that, and so they're off and running as far as just the evaluation of what Rob Ulrich wants this defense to be. But yeah, they need a lot of help across the board.
All right, ASIC 79. He changed the culture, 19-19 in 3 years. No big wins, no playmakers, covered bear, podcasting, and paragliding. He's not the one, guys. Next. Now, and again, we hit on this. Like, the university has fully backed Matt Rule and Troy Dannon and the leadership. He has a contract, guys, that's going to run for a long time. So he's got a long runway to fix this. A $72 million runway.
Yeah, yeah. All that conversation, of course, occurs in the context of, I think, one of the toughest. Is it the toughest schedule you've seen at Nebraska?
No, the Frost 2021 schedule was harder.
You going with that? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, simple. They played 8 opponents that year that won 9 or more games. 8 opponents. The 2020.
So we'll say one of the toughest.
Yeah, the 2021 will go down as the toughest I've ever seen. Oklahoma is your non-conference with Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. Ohio State, Michigan State when they went to the Peach Bowl. Yeah. But it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, I mean, this the fact that you look at all 9 Big Ten games and there's not one that you're like, yeah, Nebraska's going to win that one.
Nope. There's not
a single game that
it's Rutgers.
Yeah, that's a win.
It's Rutgers, Maryland, and there's one more in there that you could kind of make a case.
At Michigan State.
At Michigan. Those are the 3. And then the 3 non-conference. Then you play all 3 playoff teams: Oregon, Ohio State, and
Illinois.
Well, who's the other playoff team?
Indiana.
So you play those 3 teams.
Mm-hmm. Who knows about Michigan State? They got Fitzgerald and a whole bunch of money to spend.
And you're going up there. No, come on. That's it. No.
Yeah, you just wonder about their roster attrition guys and the portal. I mean, you just can't. I mean, it'd be like
it's hard to say who's going to be good right now because so much is going to change between now and September. But
yeah.
And Fitz has never built a team with the portal. So how's he going to do? I mean, so that's a big, but yeah, it's not easy. Big Sipples.
Jeez.
I want Sip to explain what Rule will say at the podium, specifically how this team program has improved this year. No O-line, D-line, quarterback, running back next year, and you won't even make a bowl next year with the schedule.
Well, what is he going to say?
Well, he said it already.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna point to what he inherited, as he said the program was dead. It's that's a hard sell to me because of that incredible football facility that they have, and he walked into a pretty good defense, by the way. Would you say that was a dead defense? I mean, it's hard to say with Ty and Nash and Butler and those guys. That wasn't a dead defense. So I don't necessarily agree with Matt on that assessment that he walked into a dead program. There were obviously a lot of problems, but geez, I'm a little surprised no one took him on that assessment, especially given how much that facility cost that they're in. Sean, what's the price tag on that baby?
It was, God, I'm already forgetting. It was
65 million,
180, yeah, 180 or high 150 to 200
brand
range.
New. Is that dead? Is that a dead program?
A lot of money for a dead program.
I mean, I don't. Hey, was there, Sean? Answer this: was there NIL dead? Did the Peds? Was there a big problem there when he came?
No, I mean
there wasn't.
There was a problem at first when the athletic department with Trev didn't really want to get behind the operation.
But what Rule walked into wasn't horrible, right?
No,
wasn't dead. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that the program was dead when he walked into it. It needed a lot of work, though. I'll say that.
I kind of get confused about what the method is, that because on one hand they talk about this is not going to be a quick fix. We are going to do steady incremental progress. This is a long-term build. But then after the game today, it says, look at Utah. They were 4-8 last year, and they got a quarterback and made some changes, and boom, they're good. So, like, does it take years to get good, or do you flip it in one off season? Yeah. Like that's what I don't really know kind of where Nebraska's leaning right now.
What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a direct answer in the portal era, because I mean, you can get hot like Indiana and do it right, but that takes an ultimate manager to manage it and execute it. And there's very few people that have done that. What Kurt Signetti has done. I mean, like Mel Tucker did it at Michigan State that one year, and then they fell off pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, so there's a lot more of that than what Signetti fell off big, but I mean, on the field and off the field.
But we don't know where Mel is at this point. I keep going.
All right, let's move it through. Mr. Powers 343. Thanks for all you do. Have the wheels of Matt Rule's tenure completely fallen off? Is this even fixable at this point? It absolutely is fixable, guys. Yeah. I mean, look, the USC game, they're driving to go up 2 scores, and then Raiola breaks his leg.
Yep.
If that doesn't happen, who knows where the year is at? They are possibly 8-2 going to Penn State. They are 7-3 going into Penn State with the injury, and then they played 3 really good teams and lost all 3 games.
It's hard to say the wheels have fallen off after a 7-6 season. We're not. I always catch fans and us media doing this where it feels like you're talking about a 4-8 team. You're not. Or you're talking about a 4-9 team. You're talking about a 7-6 team. But what clouds it is the nature of the last 3 losses.
Yes.
That's what clouds the discussion. No, I don't think the wheels have fallen off, but those losses, what I said today, there's sirens going off. They're blaring. And
they lost to all the best teams that they played. That's the problem. They had the easiest schedule they've had in a decade.
No playoff.
They're 7-6. And all the teams that you would say, wow, this is a big game, they lost. I mean, outside of maybe Cincinnati.
Sean, the other thing that we never talk about, and I don't understand, is that Nebraska, good teams get better as seasons go. It's been the opposite.
Worse.
Nebraska, what happens to them?
Well, I think when you go back to the offense, I mean, they were all in on Raiola. They built this team for Dylan Raiola. They brought in the offensive linemen. They brought in the receivers, and that plan didn't work. And so we had to watch kind of a pivoted plan the last few games of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's been
kind of true. Yeah.
All right. Let's keep it moving. Mojo Mikey, Matt Rule's battle timeouts is the best thing you can say about this team at the start of year 4. Look, we've kind of hit on that one. These are in-game. Tex Husker tide will turn on Rule after this game, and it should. And you stuck paying buyout in 26 after extending Rule. At this point, the Emperor has no clothes. Okay, let's move it on to Makani. Just enough time in 2025 for more sadness. Well, we got only a few more hours left of 2025. And again, this was an in-game.
Do we have dinner plans, Sean?
The hotel bar.
Oh, yes.
Probably about all we're going to do.
Keep it simple.
Adam Klein, 5493. Dog poop. Just utter dog poop. If nothing happens next year with all the changes, fire Rule and Dannon, a complete overhaul. Rule can go back to selling used cars. Yikes. And look, we kind of figured it was going to get like this.
Get like this in terms of what?
The nature of the super chats.
Yeah, Babe and Woods. That was a Babe and Woods show.
This is what happens when you get embarrassed on national television. This is the general reaction.
Simple goes, get like what?
Like, what are you talking about?
Go ahead, Sean.
Are people upset?
Oh, God. John S. I hope the GM has his priorities in order for the offense and defense. Yep. This team looks horrible. What a damn embarrassment. The DC, what Utah's rank is. I shut the damn game off. I'm done.
Now he hits on a key point. Pat Stewart. Wow, what a job he has right now. And now a lot of the focus does shift to Pat Stewart. And we saw that focus shift a little bit. Didn't you think, guys, when Dana Holgorsen had talked about it this week? He said Dana Holgorsen, who runs Nebraska's offense, painted a picture that he doesn't have control of who the quarterback's going to be. Yeah. I didn't know what to make of that, Sean.
I don't know if that's just the reality of the new world and we're just not used to it, or if that was strange to hear from him. I don't know. But either way, that caught my attention as well. But this is a big deal, though, because if you want a reason for optimism, it's that this is the first full offseason that Nebraska has a full-time GM that has spent the last year watching the same things that we're all watching and making evaluations and figuring out how to budget money, how to prioritize positions and all that, and how to attack this offseason. So we'll know a lot about what type of difference Pat Stewart can make when it comes to improving this roster in all the areas that they need to improve. And these first few days that the portal is going to be open are going to be absolutely critical because Nebraska's got to jump on it and get better in a hurry in a lot of spots.
Guys, in Dana's comment, I mean, I look at it as this. Recruiting has changed. It's no longer going to Aunt B's living room to recruit Justin and have fried chicken and hang out and take cookies home.
Right.
Recruiting now is transactional.
Right.
I mean, yes, there's an element of relationship, absolutely, in any form of deal you make. But the transactional side is equally as important in how you manage what you have. And with Dylan Raiola leaving, a lot of money has freed up. I mean, you look at some of the players that will have moved on. I mean, Pat Stewart has a lot of money to build this roster with in some key areas, and we'll see how he does it.
Well, I have this question for you too. Is TJ Lateef your quarterback of the future in this program?
I don't think you can roll the dice into year 4 saying this is the guy. I think you obviously are going to see 2 more guys come in. We think Minchie from Notre Dame
is definitely someone they're looking at.
Is a guy to watch closely.
Minchie, the backup at Notre Dame.
He lost I talked to a Notre Dame guy today here that follows their program closely. He's actually a host for Circa Sports.
Oh, sweet.
And he said that it was a neck and neck battle there, like literally the closest QB battle anyone at Notre Dame's ever recalled. So I think that's where they're looking because I think he's a pretty good player. And we'll see. But yeah, I don't think TJ did enough in these final 4 games to just say, yep, we can move forward with him and see how it goes.
Rob?
No, I agree. I think that if nothing else, you have to bring someone to at least compete with him. You can give him the opportunity to try to win the job, but you do not hand him the keys of the car right now, not after these last 3 games.
All right, Robin doesn't wash it.
Yes, I do.
Wow, I like these super. That's a fun one. Tell us about your tattoo, Steve.
I just got it. Well, who's asking me that question? I got it in New Orleans a long time ago. I just told the guy, make me a serpent that looks like a crazy serpent. And he drew up a picture, and I said, I can't imagine one better than that. So
how long did it take?
I don't remember, Sean. I'm going to guess 2 hours.
Ooh.
Well, it's not that painful. It's not that bad at all.
All right. Let's talk ball.
Yeah.
Sam Johnson, 92. The program is historically great, and the standard still matters. That's why watching a non-competitive effort makes the rule extension so frustrating. We are asking for progress and fight. We are not seeing either. And look, I don't know what the answer is on what they should have done with the contract at that time because Dannon was in a tough spot. I mean, everyone was led to believe he was going to go to Penn State.
This was about mid-October. Is that what we're talking about?
Right before the week of the Minnesota game was kind of the pinnacle of the Penn State talk.
Right. And at that time, isn't it safe to say that most people most fans didn't want to lose Rule at that point, right? It would have caused a lot of, just upheaval, another entirely different staff coming in. So I want to defend Dannon a little bit here. That's a hindsight discussion. Yeah, right now it's easy to be critical of Dannon, but in that moment, I don't think any of the 3 of us were saying you can't do this. You can't do this.
The only thing that you could argue is give him the years, but don't increase the buyout by $22 million.
Okay, that's
like
Sean. That's so fair
because he came in with an 8-year deal.
Right.
Like a huge deal. I mean, the back end of his deal is more money than like Kurt Signetti's going to make.
Than Signetti's new contract.
Yeah. And so then you add 2 more additional years and add those years, 90% of them or whatever it is, to the buyout. And that's maybe, if you have an issue, I think that's the issue because you're talking $22.5 million more were added to the total sum. And people were hoping college football was going to get away from these lottery ticket buyouts. And, Nebraska now, Matt Rule probably has one of the largest ones in college football.
If they fire him next year, it's $70 million, right?
I don't know if it goes down after next year. Each year it goes down based on the year, but he's carrying essentially, I believe, 8 more years.
Okay, so Robin, what Rule sells is this. Look what I walked into. Listen to what Henry Letofsky said the other day at the Bull press conference. Letofsky walked into 3-9. They were 3-9. Well, no, they were 3-9 in Letofsky's first year. So Rule's going to say they're 3-9. We're 7-6. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a matter of is that enough progress to sell in year 3?
Right.
When the whole again, I go back to the thing it was supposed to be this big leap here, in year 3, and the leap was anything but. It was more just sustaining what you did a year ago. So I have a hard time buying the pill that there's been undeniable progress. Yes, there's been progress, but it hasn't been enough. I mean, look at what we're talking about here. Nebraska is investing at a championship level, and the results they're getting on the field have been anything remotely close to that.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting run off the field against teams that are actually competing at a championship level, and even ones that are competing at a barely top 25 level. That's what we're talking about right now.
Sean, best wins this year:
Northwestern,
Cincinnati, and Northwestern. Those aren't championship programs.
And to recap the contract, so his original deal was 8 years.
Okay.
2 more years were added, so he's got a 10-year fully guaranteed deal, and I think it's 90% of the sum, but his 2030 salary is $12.5 million, and his 31 and 32 is now 12.5, and that money gets added into the buyout. So essentially he's got a 10-year guaranteed financial deal.
That's a good. What he's got? He's got a great agent. Trace Armstrong.
Mm-hmm.
Trace Armstrong is a high-level agent. He is a high-level agent.
All right. Before we get into our next round of super chats, again, we're brought to you by the official beverage sponsor, Zipline. Hopefully, you're about a 6-pack deep of some Mosaic IPA.
There you go. Probably taking a nap at that point.
The West Coast IPA that numbed up
Fix
Sipple's
yourself,
mouth.
man.
No, we love Zipline. Phenomenal beer, local, and tons of great new products. I love the South Lincoln location, Rob. I find myself going out there all the time just to grab a sandwich next door and work out of there and get a pint. Thanks to Zipline for all of their support as the official beverage sponsor. Also, we are brought to you by Crani-Yum. And that was another thing I needed on this trip, guys. We could have used some Crani-Yum to adjust to the West Coast time.
Yeah, Crani-Yum always comes in handy. It's going to really come in handy in the next 20 days as we cover the portal. But we were without Crani-Yum, but we will be with it when we return to Lincoln.
Locally owned, based out of Fremont, sugar-free, all-natural, contains nootropics for mental clarity, which is key for both Sipple and I. We need that clarity in our conversations.
What about Rob?
Ooh, and they've come out with a new flavor, by the way, guys.
What?
Help me.
Grape cranberry.
Hello.
And
hello.
I hope when I get home I'll see some of that on my doorstep because it sounds amazing.
Yeah, that does.
So they've dropped their new flavor, grape cranberry.
I love grape juice. So this is
it's cran grape.
Well,
launch is February 1st.
That's close enough.
So I'm excited to get a taste of the new cran grape.
Well, it doesn't launch till February 1st.
Use the promo code HuskerOnline and you'll get 10% off your order plus free shipping at drinkcrani-yum.com. You can also buy it at Hy-Vee and other places around the state of Nebraska. But the easiest way is go online. It's free shipping. You're going to get 10% off with the promo code HuskerOnline, drinkcrani-yum.com. All right, let's get back into the supers. Ben, this is just awful football. Can we stop glazing Matt Rule and company? Can you all start some more honest commentary? I want to hear you all be angry.
This is an interesting comment that the young man makes. I think what's happened is a little scary, that we're getting numb to this. I guess I'm just speaking for myself at this point. I am getting a little numb. You don't hear anger in my voice, do you?
We've done a lot of shows like this.
Yeah. I mean,
Michigan 2 years ago compared to now.
How was I when they lost to Michigan at home? what was that? 2 years ago, 3 years, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
It's the most angry you've been on the show, other than when I talked about your score prediction against Minnesota.
Yeah, when you just tooled me out right out of the case.
ramrodded
Led
you.
the show with it.
I mean, lead the show with that. Anyway, are you guys getting numb to this? Are fans getting numb to it? Do not let yourself get numb.
Yeah, the apathy is probably the most dangerous part of this whole situation for Nebraska right now. When people start just expecting to lose and start checking out, then you got a real problem on your hands.
Sean,
And losses like this only continue to lead you down that path.
Well, and there's a tone as well. I mean, the people want the media just to go like full at Matt Rule or full at the players. And I don't know, like, I don't know how you go about that.
here's how you go about it, Sean. It's very easy. There's a word that's critical: professional.
Correct.
We're not
Hit artists.
No, and we're fans. We're fans of the program, all of that, but we can't go into that interview room and just say, "Hey, Matt, what the hell is wrong?" You don't. There's got to be a level of professionalism. I don't think everybody understands that.
Yeah. Yeah, and
when are you going to get it together? That's what people want.
Yeah.
That's what people want to hear, but that's not what we're going to do.
you can ask, and then here's the other part of it too. Like we'd be like, Matt, why is everything so crappy? And he's like, what do you want him to say? Like you just want to hear someone yell at Matt Rule, which I get it. It's an emotional point. Everybody's mad, ticked off, and they want somebody to say how they feel in that press conference setting, but I just don't know what it actually gets you, because the answer isn't going to change anything. No matter what Matt Rule tells you, it's not going to make you any less mad. It's not going to comfort you. It's not going to make your narrative change at all whatsoever. So it's just kind of one of those deals where the press conferences are what they are, and you try to get some answers the best you can without letting the emotions get the best.
I thought the necessary questions were asked today.
All right, Buster Hyman comes in.
Oh, Sean.
Oh, did I get it? I had to get one.
Hold on.
Ring in the new year with Buster.
I kind of knew that. I needed a trip up on one just for old time's sakes.
Sean, that would have got me too, by the way. I'm still don't repeat it. Go ahead.
We are a totally irrelevant program. If we have any chance of competing, we have to be the top spender in college football, put ourselves back on the map. If we don't have the money, it's pointless to continue to support the Big Red.
It can't. It's got to be more than that. Talent evaluation is really important still in this world. I mean, and now I do question Rule a little bit in terms of talent evaluation. And how could you not right now? Right? I mean, it's not like they've been bereft of money.
Yeah.
They've went and got players that they probably didn't. I don't want to start naming names, but you could do it pretty easy and say they spent 6 figures on this guy and got 2 sacks. They spent X amount on this guy and he got 3, and they spent this amount on this receiver, and what did they get out of it?
Put it in this context. Michigan had 9 sacks on Nebraska. Nebraska's defense had 11 on the year before today.
Yeah, I mean, they've spent money. I mean, Nebraska spent money last go round in the portal. Probably didn't get enough out of some of those guys. So I do wonder about talent evaluation more than a little bit. And you just go back to the first quarterback they brought in, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that'll always hang over his head.
Big Sipples, year 4 of Rule and being 100% dependent on the portal, of which no great players wants to play for him. How could this be anything other than a reset? And
let's not do that.
All right, we've been there, done that. Let's Gretzky. When will Rule get past his gimmicks? Coach Matt, this one blocking drill before games and the OOU, he's a great guy, but I'm getting frustrated. And he's talking about, remember, they did the Oklahoma drill.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore, do they?
No, they don't
do that.
They don't do that.
Yeah, that stuff's great when you're winning, but nobody really cares too much about it when you're losing by 22.
No, you're right. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Matt Rule right now has an extraordinarily difficult job to get because of it. I'm going to go back to it all this coming off season because of that schedule. that schedule looms so large in every discussion you have. Sean, you can't bring in a young quarterback to face that schedule.
Every day when you wake up in the morning, everyone in that building should look at that schedule.
I totally agree with you.
When you walk in there, you need to look at that thing every day. And if you can't handle that, I don't know what to tell you.
Minchie's a fourth-year guy. That's the kind of guy you need. You need to send in a grown man against that schedule. This isn't, well, no, we're just going to get this freshman and get his feet wet. No. If you think you're going to win in year 4, you got to have a seasoned guy back there, a grown man.
All right, Zelly at $12.99. It's clear that 1 month of backwards hat Matt Rule and Eckler couldn't fix a wasted season of D-line development or poor play behind them.
Yeah, that's a lot. Would have been a lot to ask. I mean, it was sort of a pie-in-the-sky notion that I entertained. I did entertain that those guys could kind of whip that defensive front together, but it's a pie-in-the-sky notion to think you could come in a month and do that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the guys are what they are. You know, the limitations don't change just because the coach is giving them a different message. And that's where it comes back to this whole conversation about what this next month is. They got to get some dudes. They got to get dudes on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
The one thing I disagree with you on that assessment, though, Robin, they are what they are in the moment because you have to leave open the possibility of development.
Well, I'm talking about like over Matt Rule and Mike Eckler's influence. Like,
yeah.
A month, 15 practices aren't going to change what they are in December.
Right. Exactly.
All right, Eduardo Foley. Look at the guy's avatar. Our special teams seem to have regressed over the course of the season. Also, Nebraska should play a game in Mexico next year.
Take that.
Sean, could that happen?
Where the special teams regressed today was one area. Ja'Cory Barney running out 3 kicks and having Nebraska's offense start at the 10, the 15, and the 16.
Ooh.
And when you're struggling and you're young, that's not a recipe for success because Latif is not built to start drives on the 10, the 15, and the 16.
Rob.
Yeah, I had a hard time with that because like they had this whole notion we're going to let Ja'Cory go try to make a play. And that seems like, to me, reflects on their lack of faith in the offense because they felt like they needed to get a spark somewhere else. And that as a result, they're putting themselves behind the sticks, to where like a fair catch would have spotted you 15 more yards for your offense. And then the fact that it took them long enough, they said they eventually kind of put a red light on him, but how many kickoffs did he do? 3?
They put a red light on him at the very end.
Yeah. So I guess I understand that they view Ja'Cory Barney as a return man, as one of their most dangerous weapons, but eventually you got to be like, hey man, right now it's just not working. You're putting us at a disadvantage rather than an advantage.
All right, let's move it on. Ben Stewart, at what point do we see Matt Rule upset? I want to see some Bo Pelini style mad, and you can't change who you are. I mean, like your style has to be your style. You can't, Matt Rule is going to run and manage a program the way he does it. Like you can't just expect Matt Rule to become like Nick Saban yelling and screaming, but Matt Rule runs a tight ship. I mean, you hear that from everyone that works for him. He's definitely a stickler for details.
I was in agreement. I thought after the Penn State game, I didn't like his reaction to the Penn State game a little. It was just let's move on. We're going to forget about this. That's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, they wouldn't even talk about the game.
They wouldn't even barely talk about it. Now where I disagree with the, what do you call these guys, super chatter, is that he was really upset after Iowa because he started firing people.
Yeah.
I mean, right away he started firing people. He fired John Butler right away, fired Braden right away, Terry Braden.
Donovan.
So fired Donovan. He was pissed at those last 2 games in the way they went down. Now, he doesn't show it like Bo did. He doesn't wear it on his sleeve right after the games. But those 2 losses put him into action. He was angry about it.
All right. Pete Stone.
Pete Stone, you're okay.
I don't know you guys. Feels like this program could use a reset. All right.
Oh, wow. Ouch. Hold on.
Let's keep it rolling here. Aston 79, Matt Rule, his stamp on the D-line, sideways hat next year. Yeah, one thing I'll be interested, guys, is will we see Matt Rule continue to work with the D-line, or is that just a 1-month deal?
Well, he said, like, when that first started happening, that he needed to get back to coaching. So, like, maybe it's not specifically working with the defensive line. I don't know, but maybe having a more hands-on approach. But Wasn't the whole point of him coming here was to be the CEO type? Because in this new landscape, you needed a CEO to run a major college football program. So that's a hard line to walk when you want to get back into coaching, but you also have so much on your plate in terms of roster management, construction, and all the other things that come with being a head coach of a program like Nebraska.
All right, let's move for Nels in Montana. Sean, Sip, and Robin, thank you for all your great online shows, content this year. Much appreciated and wouldn't miss it. P.S. Tell me you think we will win at least 4 games next year, please. I'm going to set the Vegas over-under probably at, I mean, they don't generally do a whole number,
okay.
but it's going to obviously be 5.5 or 6.5.
5.5. You can't set it 6.5.
I think 5.5.
If you set it 6.5, you know where all the money's going. Come on now. 5.5 is the number.
And again, like you look at what the schedule is on December 31st, it could look a whole lot different here by August 31st.
Garrett Nelson, 8509. Appreciate all the coverage this year. This year was by far the most frustrating year, maybe to be of the expectations. It just seems like we are not even remotely close to being championship level. Thoughts? And I think we've kind of hit on that already, guys.
We have. I agree.
Old Dave, 2848. The only thing left is this fan base, and they crap on us every chance they get. I'm done.
Well, they don't again, it's 7-6, not 4-9. You know, come on. They couldn't be 4-9 because they wouldn't get an extra game. But yeah, it's you know what? It's been a lot worse.
All right. Thanks for joining us again. We're officially brought to you by our beverage sponsor, Zipline. Get on in to any of their 3 Lincoln locations. The Fallbrook one, the Tap and Grill, has great lunch specials right now starting at just $10. A lot of sandwich options. Pick up a 6-pack. They carry a lot of the specialty ones that you can only get in the tap room. Obviously, the grocery stores like Hy-Vee and Super Saver around the state and gas stations carry, the more mainstream flavors of Zipline. But get into any one of those locations. Thanks again to Zipline, the official beverage sponsor of Husker Online Postgame Live. Willie Dilly 411 year 3 hype, and Matt Rule had one of the worst 3-game stretches, if not the worst in the history of the program. Now, I think that might be a little extreme because 07 Callahan was pretty rough at the end there.
Yeah. The end of the Mike Riley era wasn't pretty either.
Oh God, that last year was horrific. No, yeah, it's been worse. I will say that it's been worse.
And he adds, you have to swing big in the portal and capitalize on the money. You pounded the table for the money and you got it. Pay big for a QB, in my opinion. And the answer is there's only like 3 of those guys out there. Sorsby and Levitt are 2 of them, and they're not getting those guys.
I don't think you need to pay big for a QB. I think you need to pay enough to get a quality veteran, proven quarterback, and then you surround him with elite talent. Yeah, that's my personal formula.
Sean, I think the approach there for the GM is you pay the man you need to get. And it's not going to be one of those guys, Sorsby, Levitt, high-end guy. It's not going to be that guy, but you pay what you need to get. That's what you do.
Old man 1530. I flew to Vegas for this time to drink myself into oblivion. Where do the championship women hang out? Or the cheap women? Championship cheap women.
Where do the championship?
That's an interesting way to put it. The championship women.
Or cheap.
Yeah. Well, never heard it that way. That's kind of a good one.
I'm gonna use that.
I need a championship woman.
We've got some at home.
Yeah, my wife's a championship.
Our championship women might be leaving us.
Yeah,
in Vegas so long. Robin has lived in Vegas.
I've spent 3 weeks of my calendar year in Las Vegas. I have a championship wife at home that's basically been a single mom for half the year.
Sorry, guys. All right, Harry. I really sucks watching your favorite team get beat. All right, thank you, Harry.
Sure does.
It does.
Noah Wolf. Should Nebraska adopt a Moneyball style approach like the Oakland A's rather than pursuing top transfer talent? I just don't know if that will work here, guys. I think you have to swing big.
Not in the Big Ten.
You're right. You're right.
Billiken Beef, are we going to chalk this up to opt-outs and bowl games being meaningless, or is this just gross incompetence from the coaching staff? I say the latter.
I don't think it's gross incompetence, but I'm also not gonna do the thing where I say Nebraska was without these guys, because Utah was without these guys too. But no, I'm not saying gross incompetence. I don't think it's that.
It's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
John Webb, fire Rob Orich.
There you go.
Rob, where was he at? Do we know during the game?
Nope.
He was on the field during pregame. I don't know where he was like during the actual game though, because we're up in literally by the rafters of the stadium here. But he's been with the program. He was with the team today on the sideline during warmups. So he was there. He saw it all.
Best press box I think I've been in, but other than being so high up.
No, not. I don't think it's even close to the Jerry's World press box. I thought I was, in fact, a little underwhelmed by this one.
Well, the spacing and the setups of things I thought were really good.
It was good. It was really good.
For our post-game show, this is the best setup we've had.
It was really good, but I wouldn't compare it to Jerry's World.
Chad Singleton, every Christmas my family watched the 95 Orange Bowl. I just don't know how we can't get a coach to get us to compete at half that level. This has granted me to go on a bender over the next couple of days.
Jeez. All right, well, enjoy that. Maybe find a championship woman or two.
TD comes in, Robin. Don't say
there we go, TD.
We look as talented as the 1890 Omaha YMCA team coached by the Hall of Fame coach.
Don't say it.
Oh, Nels. Let's go to Nels.
Coach Teakles.
Did we have a bunch of NFL-bound DBs opt out for tonight's game? Just wondering how 3 different 6'5", 250-pound white dudes cooked our defensive backfield all game. Coach Bill Bush, head scratcher.
Hey, Sean, they beat that tight end on that first play. He beat cover 2.
And
he looked like Gronkowski today.
The grades are in on Pro Football Focus, Robin. 13 missed tackles and
how many by defensive backs?
Let's see, 6, 7, 8 of the 13 missed tackles were by defensive backs.
Yeah. And I get there without Singleton, but still, like, that was
think about that.
One player missed 5.
The tackling,
don't Damon.
The tackling was just atrocious. I mean, like, it wasn't just like missing tackles. Some of them you just had to question the effort a little bit. That's why I go back to Rule's thing about I like the physicality. Man, go back and watch some of those tackles, especially from the defensive backs.
Think about that, Sean.
I strongly disagree.
Think about that. He gave a stamp of approval to Addison Williams. Addison Williams was deemed safe right out of the box after the Iowa game.
To be fair, he has not been able to bring in one of his guys to Nebraska.
Is that right?
Yeah, he didn't recruit any of these guys.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
now's the time.
Jameer Khan was brought in with Mosey. That was one of his guys. But Addison Williams has yet to bring in, he's got the corner from Orlando or the Florida kid coming here. I mean, there'll be some guys.
Danny Odom.
So we'll see where that goes. Nels of Montana. We got that one in. Let's go to Supreme Cash. Car salesman Matt's seat is now warm. We fired John for bad defense, but our players were just awful. No more excuses. Next year, get the players and stop with the vanilla play calls. Embarrass, go Big Red.
Tell you what's going to happen in this world? These car salesmen are going to get pretty angry. I mean, what are we saying about car salesmen right now? Easy on the car salesman, please.
Trying to sell vehicles.
Jeez.
Zelliot, the Utes are a good team, but it's obvious, despite what Rule says, the defense needs a complete rebuild and the offense needs an identity it can commit to.
Well, Rule, I'm not going to try to paraphrase him, but if you want to hear Nebraska's identity from the mouth of the head coach, he was asked about the program identity and he laid it out pretty well. And that's going to be something I go back to in a column here shortly.
Mike Dawes. We went 6 years, guys, without a bowl game. And now we have gone to back-to-back bowl games. My question, do you trust in the direction of the program? Do you trust in Rule? Because that matters. And actually, it was 7 years.
7 years.
Not 6.
Do you trust, Sean? What's your answer?
Ask me that after this portal round. Like what they get done. I want to see what this looks like, because clearly this year did not go how they wanted it to, and a lot of it was the Raiola plan did not go how they wanted it to.
Is that what it should come down to, though? How they do in one portal round as to how you feel about the direction of the program?
I do think it carries a lot of weight. It carries a lot of weight because, one, Matt Rule himself said he has everything he needs. He has
Okay.
all the resources from a financial standpoint to compete at a championship level. That's
Okay.
from his mouth.
Yes.
He's got a GM that is going into his very first offseason, this big offseason hire that is going to have the first impact of having a true GM to help assemble the roster. So if you were going to point to one offseason, one portal class as being a defining time and group for this coaching staff's trajectory, I'd say this is pretty fair to say.
Pretty all right. All right. You kind of swayed me there. Thank you.
All right, let's move it through. Nebraska pod, year 3, no progress. Next year is going to hurt. Let's see. Let's keep it moving here. Paul Sally 954. The future is bright despite the loss. Shout out to my brother Aaron. Give him a Crani-Yum for Xmas. Give him a Crani-Yum for Xmas. And Pat, we'll get there, boys. Keep the faith.
All right.
Sean Sipshut. Oh, this is the Robin Sean Sipple AI combo. We've had fun with AI, by the way, on the road trip with the Grok app. I've made some fun ones of Steve Sipple that would break the internet if I released them. I'm not going to, though.
Yep.
I'm not going to.
Save those.
Sean, those are bizarre. I got to say.
They're really funny, though.
They would break the internet, too.
So many questions still on offense. Defense looked as bad as weeks 11 and 12. Totally overmatched by Aaron Meebon. Ooh, all afternoon. Lots to improve on. All right.
Okay.
Dusty. Down, reset, hike.
Ouch. 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 Very imaginative.
Look what you started. Sid.
Very imaginative.
Look what you've done.
Yes.
Kerry Burnham. I spent my youth listening to NU football with my dad on the radio, and my son will be 18 this year and will leave having never seen a good NU team with his dad.
Define good. I mean, those Sioux teams are pretty good.
The Sioux teams under Bo. Yeah, I mean,
the Sioux teams would have been like playoff
that,
teams now almost.
There's one team that came a play away from winning a conference championship. So, I mean, but I guess, wait, he's 18? Yeah, we're getting close.
But those are, you're right, Sean. Those are playoff type teams.
All right, Nels. Sean Sip Robin, thank you for all your great shows, content for this year. Much appreciated and wouldn't miss it. Please tell me you think we'll win. Okay, we actually did this one already. So
thank you, though.
Thank you, Nels, for the repeat.
So good, do it twice.
Jenna comes in. Immediate fall off after.
Good thing you just went first name.
I'm on a first name basis with Jenna.
There we go, Jenna.
Don't know her last name very well. Immediate fall off after the first quarter was astonishing to watch.
Oh, genitals.
What happened? At least no guys with impressive performance to sell in the portal.
God dang, people are really imaginative.
TJ Laquif.
Oh, for God's sake. Sean, you didn't need to do that. Sean.
Should have played in the American Standard Toilet Bowl.
Oh.
All right. Dusty comes in, lived in Vegas for years. 100% recommend the Pepper Mill.
Okay.
It's next to the Wynn. Great food and drinks. Amazing vibes. Go Big Red. And we had some great meals in Vegas, guys. We went to Michael's. The Gone family was gracious to host us at Michael's.
That was so good.
On Saturday night. Probably one of the top dining experiences I've ever had in my life.
Hey, Sean, I'm going number one.
Number one for you?
I'm going number one.
Got to see the old El Cortez where Jackie Gone is from.
Jackie Gone lived in the penthouse up there. It was Jackie's place. I mean, but yeah, it was super cool to go to the El Cortez because of the history there of the Gone family.
Found out from my dad, evidently one of the Gones married someone that grew up in the house I grew up in.
That is a
freaked me out.
World.
South Omaha.
Yeah.
But no, thanks to them. And Simple and I went to the Circus, the steakhouse.
That was really good too.
And it's got kind of a low key history here too. So we got a couple good meals. Other than that, it was kind of all business.
We did a lot of work down there.
In and out.
Yeah.
All right, John, no doubt that putting together a top 15 program is hard, but we've made it routinely competitive we've made being routinely competitive look impossible.
I'm not saying impossible.
It made it seem like it's awful far away, though, over these last three.
Yes, it did. That's fair. And against Minnesota. That's fair. That's fair.
All right, guys. Thanks again to Zipline. They've been with us all year. The official post-game beverage sponsor of HuskerOnline Post-Game Live. Get in any one of their 3 locations, the Fallbrook Tap and Grill, the South Lincoln, or the original brewery there on Westo. All phenomenal, all great spots to have a beer, get some food. taking a little live music even at times at the new brewery location they remodel over there. All great spots. Thanks again to Zipline, and it's available now in Kansas City, guys.
Okay.
After the starting in late January, you can get Zipline in Kansas City.
Okay.
Nice.
Go Big Red always. There's progress, but the last 3 games showed that we are currently a tier 2 to 3 team in college football. Trenches must improve to be tier 1. Is Matt Rule on the hot seat next year?
How would you answer that, Sean?
I would answer it as in, I just don't know how anybody. No, I mean the money situation. I mean, I think by getting the extension, Matt Rule has a runway.
People are asking me that question though now with increased frequency. And I'd say what you just said, but there has to be a bottom line in that discussion, right? What's the breaking point?
Yeah.
Is it what?
4 wins?
Right. That's what you don't know.
3 wins?
Right. How much can he weather? How much noise from the fan base would there be in a 4-8 type scenario?
Yeah. What if it's 4-8 and 5 of the losses are like the last 3 that we just saw this season?
Right. We don't need to
That's
talk about
problematic.
that anymore. Yeah.
But boy, hey, what if they win 8 or 9 games?
Right, they
and all of a
could.
sudden we have a completely different conversation.
Right. You have to leave open that possibility. You really do.
Hey.
You don't know how some of the teams are going to be next year that we're talking about.
Utah did it.
Right.
Indiana did it.
Right. You have to leave open that possibility.
Well, and the good news is they do have a schedule where they should start out 3-0, and they should build up momentum and get kind of their culture of what they want to be established, and then from there they got to figure it out in the Big Ten, and we know how hard that gets, especially as you get into November.
Yeah, and it'll be critical now that you're talking about it, Sean. We'll get to those super chats in a second. You have those first 3 non-conference games that should be wins. Now, when they release that schedule, which is pretty soon, the Big Ten schedule has to be pretty soon. It's very interesting to me. It'll be very important to see what immediately follows that. I mean, you talk about trying to build ahead of steam. It'd be kind of nice if they got like Maryland at home,
to open up Big Ten, just a 4th game.
Yeah,
but
to get your legs under you, to build some level of foundation before you go into the hardest games of that.
Isn't
schedule.
it crazy, guys? We don't know the schedule yet.
It is.
We thought we know it by now.
But it tells you how powerful TV is.
Okay.
Because TV has to puzzle this together to compete against the SEC.
Yeah.
And they have to put games each week that will draw ratings. And this year, the Big Ten got their butts whooped by the SEC in ratings.
Yeah, they did.
And so
they did.
I'm sure they have to figure this out.
They took the belt.
BTA.
Not in the bowl games, though.
No.
The on-field product.
Love
Because it
CC
was fun.
comes in with 2 super chats here. I don't see improvement, just regression. Also, I bought my wife's boyfriend one of those necklaces, and he loved it. Thanks, guys.
Good job, love.
That's awesome. God bless you. God bless
We're
you.
an all-inclusive show here, guys.
You know what? Alternative lifestyles are fun.
Crypto King.
Do you?
Can we rather talk about Husker basketball? Yes, Robin has a big Friday night.
Hoops.
I know my wife and daughters are very excited to go to that game Friday night.
Sold
Zip,
out
Are you going to
arena.
go? I mean, you might have to go.
Hold on. Last time I went, I was covering football during the basketball game. Is that what we're going to be doing again?
Well, the portal
Yeah.
opens that day.
Right.
But hopefully by 8 o'clock, it
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to the game. Let's put it that
I'll
way.
save you a seat if you
All
want
right.
to go.
Sir
Yes.
Eddie.
Well, you just want me to go there and cover football? Is that what I'm going to
Yeah.
do?
It's just right from press row.
I can. I could.
It won't be one of those games where the football team's introduced at halftime.
Probably not.
Sir Eddie YT, are we sure Rule is the guy going forward? Is Rule the foundation builder and someone else the guy who's not in the building?
Right now, Rule's the guy, and that's just the way it is. You got to see how this plays out. This in the immediate, meaning this round of portal. Now, I don't know how to answer it from there.
It's going to be very cynical though until they figure it out.
Cynical and skeptical.
Like they'll get to 3-0 and no one's going to be bought in.
Nope. Cynical and skeptical.
Corn Maze. This loss didn't even bother me because it is who we are now.
Rob.
That's a problem. We need to hire. I think that's a trap.
Yeah, I mean, Robin talked about apathy's a real issue. I mean, I think it's more of an issue than it's ever been. That's just my feel. It's just a feel you have. I frankly worry about it.
Yeah, I mean,
I frankly worry about it.
yes, the anger level. You just compare it to what it was. It just feels different now.
Yeah, I don't even know if I call it anger at this
bad.
point.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like it's
Resignation.
There's a resignation that I feel. Not I feel, but I sense from others.
Mm-hmm.
KB Nelson, D was a disaster. The defense should have been better despite the O struggle in the second and third. Osborne won at a high percentage early, so not a direct comparison, but Rule is the one. Can't keep changing leadership, and meaning stability is how you do it. And I think there is a coaching change fatigue element of it as well.
Yep, I agree, Sean.
Troy Dannon agrees too.
Yep.
And Nebraska, I mean, they had a guy in Pelini that was winning, and they fired him, and there was other reasons why that happened, but it just Nebraska has to figure this out.
I mean, I don't go to the Pelini. I always go to Frank. When they fired Frank Solich at 9-3, my fear was the revolving door would start spinning wildly, and it has. It's spun more wildly than I would have anticipated, and it's really spun wildly with assistants. It is incredible, Sean. You could have never imagined how wildly those doors to Memorial Stadium have spun with assistants,
and how rich people have gotten.
Yeah,
and you also can't sit there and have comments about basketball and not look at what the path Fred Hoiberg had to do. Obviously, completely different situations, but the only reason they are where they are right now is because of patience and constantly adapting and finding a plan and a strategy, both with your roster management and your style of play to adjust to the Big Ten. All of that took a long time. It took 5 years for them to figure out how to do it. And now into year 7, it's finally starting to pay off. So that's,
Sean.
If you want to look at a comparative right now, look no further than Nebraska.
And if you want some optimism before you go to the next super chat, Sean, they do have an AD and a head coach that are working together. They work together well.
They're very close.
Yeah, they're close. They work together well. They're literally going through a checklist right now of things that need to happen, and they're trying to make all of those happen.
Travis LR, some no-name coach is going to resurrect a decimated Iowa State team in 2 years. Rule will be hosting another podcast, and we will be still suck.
Well, I'm not going to.
All right,
that's
TJ, and I won't. TJ comes in. You guys only have like 800 viewers. You usually have like 1,500. Shows that people don't care. We
It's
are
also
so
New Year's
Hey,
Eve.
TJ,
Easy,
brother,
Sean,
it's
easy,
freaking
Sean.
New Year's Eve,
Easy,
man.
Sean.
Like, our show numbers in Vegas have been huge, actually. We've had great numbers out here, and it's 9:00 Central on New Year's Eve. If you're hanging
That's
out,
a pretty good number, actually.
yeah, actually, TJ,
After a
I'm
22-point
pretty
loss.
impressed.
That's a pretty good number. Yeah.
TJ, you need to check yourself out there, buddy. Mike 19.
Ooh.
Sorry, gentlemen. I don't know that we can fix this portal-wise. The portal opens in a day, and we have 0 D-line coach. It starts in the trenches, 25-plus years, and still rebuilding. I don't think so. T-Man,
Are they going to announce a D-line coach here pretty quick?
I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing.
They should. They should.
The only good thing about this season has been Husker Online. This is not Sean's dad. We were with my dad today.
Thanks,
Patrick.
He came with us to the game this morning.
I wonder if he got back okay.
I hope my dad got back. I need to check on him. Sir Eddie, is Dana the problem? Needs to be looked at.
I mean, that's a really oversimplification. That's oversimplifying matters. They have an assortment of issues right now.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say, if anything, just they need to figure out an offensive identity. And I get that going from Dylan to TJ changed a lot of how they needed to operate. But, like, you got to figure out what you are and build around that, not build around your personnel.
Right. I agree.
All right. We got 3 left. TJ comes in. We brag about getting picked to play in this bowl game over teams with better records. Maybe we would look better going against TCU.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been in the Owl
This was
Bowl.
a bad draw. I mean, we thought it was, and it was.
Okay, but the other options were Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Utah. I don't know if there was a good option.
I don't know if there was. Good point, Sean.
Or would you have liked to get New Mexico and Phoenix?
What would Pavia done to this defense? Hello.
Yeah, Pavia threw for like 350 and
Yeah,
Iowa.
what would Pavia do to this
Probably
defense?
not much more than 550
True.
yards and 5
True.
touchdowns.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
TD,
Dan Beer would say,
I was
well,
saying,
what did I just
Probably
do?
about what Dampier
Right.
did.
TD asks, did Nawari play today? Winery,
did.
I don't recall seeing him.
He
He
did.
played 24 snaps.
Yeah, he
I
played.
just checked.
He played.
Yeah, did he tackle? Did he
He
have a
just
tackle?
didn't do much.
And then finally, our last super chat of 2025.
Wow.
What an honor.
Drum roll.
Only good thing about Husker football is this show.
Hey, what a
Thank
way to
you.
go.
Way to
out.
close it out, Sean.
Thank you, Crypto
Guys.
King.
Well,
Crypto King.
we did it again. We started doing this post-game show actually during Scott Frost's final season. So we've done this show now for 4 full years. It's gotten bigger, and we've got great numbers and great viewership. And we thank the near 1,000 live viewers we had. We know a lot of people are going to catch the replay and the podcast download because it is New Year's Eve. But for those 800 to 1,000 that stayed on with us for New Year's Eve, thank you.
Indeed.
From Allegiant Stadium, and this is a gorgeous place. So I wish
Yeah.
it would have went better for Nebraska, but but next year. See if they get in the bowl next
There's
year.
always next year.
All right, for Robin Washut, Steve Sipple, I'm Sean Callahan. Special thanks to our producer, Megan Guntner, who's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
She spent her New Year's Eve with us as well. Thank you, Megan, for making this show what it is behind the scenes. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you, and we appreciate all of our great viewers and listeners. Signing off here for 2025. This is the Husker Online Post Game Live.